Good morning, good morning. There you are. I hope you're safe and well because that is the most important thing. I'm just looking out of the window and yes, we have lying snow and frost on top of that. So it's bitterly cold here and could be quite slippy on the pavement. So take care of yourself if you're out and about. And I hope you can afford to stay warm. No comments on the Starmer government and the pensioners' fuel allowances from me. Anyway, we've got some massive news for you this morning, which is, of course, that on Wednesday, the EU CLP Legislative Act was finally published. Yay! And we've been waiting and waiting for that. We knew what was in it because there was a note with the information. And then they've decided that, yeah, we are going to publish this. We're going to publish this now. But unlike the draft and unlike most EU regulations and acts and all the rest of it, where it says this will enter into force on such and such a day and apply from, as in legally binding from, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months time. They've done something a bit different with the dates. They've actually put in 2 fixed dates. They say you can use these requirements up until the 30th of June, and then from the 1st of July, these are legal. And then there's a second date, which is the 31st of December. Let me just check to make sure we've got it right. The 31st of December 2026 and the 1st of January 2027. So we've got 30th June / 1st July 2026 and 31st December 2026 / 1st January 2027. And as you might expect, these are not too different. They're sort of just a bit longer than 18 months and just a bit longer than 24 months. And you might go, well, that's good because we've got the fixed date and we don't have to work it out in our heads what exactly it is and maybe get it wrong. Aha, not so fast. It's the EU. There's always going to be a sting in the tail. And then they've got this list of things that apply. And they're saying article, whatever it is, item number X, B. And you've got to go through it all and go, right, okay, which bit applies where and when. And we're looking into that. And we will report back in due course. They just cannot make life simple for industry, can they? Anyway, we know it's here. We know it only applies in the EU. However, it also applies in Northern Ireland under the terms of the Windsor Framework. And it doesn't currently apply in GB. Now, we have had several people saying, do you think this is going to come in GB? And the answer that I can give everybody is, I have no idea. But I would hope that the HSE, who are generally a pragmatic bunch and who are not interested in making work for industry on something that bears absolutely no relationship to consumer safety, because that's what all these labelling changes are, I would hope that it will be advised by the HSE to DEFRA and DEFRA to the UK politicians, don't touch it with a barge pole. Of course, that doesn't help most businesses who trade in both the UK and the EU, because in order to keep a single label where that's still possible, we would have to have the same EU rules on our label or our GB labels, where we've got a dual label. So I think many businesses are going to adopt these voluntarily. But it's just another nail in the coffin of dual labels, I think. I think we're moving towards the point where it's too much hassle. It takes too much time to lay these labels out. There's less information on them because there's no room anymore or less space than there was. And I do genuinely believe that this will lead us towards having one label for GB and one label for Northern Ireland / the EU. But time will tell, won't it? The other thing that I genuinely think about the label provisions in the CLP Legislative Act is we have been here before. Oh my goodness, is anybody as old as me and can remember all the hassle about the pictogram size mistake that was made? When the EU brought GHS into effect, they set the minimum pictogram dimensions at 1/15 of the area of the label. And that meant as your label size increases, even if you voluntarily had a larger label, then your pictogram size increased. So you weren't really gaining very much if you increased your label size in terms of real estate on the label, space on the label. And that was correct. I think in the second ATP, they went back and read GHS and realised, no, it's the minimum size. So when you have a label of size this, then the minimum size has to be on the label, which means you can have a larger label and keep the pictogram size smaller and do spaces that way. So they did listen to industry in that case, and I would hope that they will listen to industry on the current case, which is just that it is unworkable and it does nothing to improve genuine readability, and it does nothing to help consumers with the biggest problems they have with chemical labels. Because they did a survey, and do you know what people in the EU said? It's the chemical names that bother us. We don't know what they are. So instead of going out and educating people in the EU and saying, if you don't know what it is, Google it as a minimum, and don't be scared about it and get yourself educated. Oh no, they decided that they would go, oh well, it must be because people can't physically read the labels. And that was just a classic case of misidentifying the problem. So it looks like they're doing something, it looks like they're solving something, and it has done absolutely nothing for consumer safety. And like I said, it will just cost a huge amount of time and effort and money for industry. And I hope these labeling format requirements will be rescinded at the earliest possible moment. But hey, who's going to listen to us? Especially now we're in GB. Anyway, gets off soapbox. Thank you very much for hearing my confession. Other ECHA news. Sorry, first of all, I must put the regulation in below this. Otherwise, you won't know where to get hold of it. That's it going in just now. So secondly, ECHA have also issued an update on the PFAS situation, and they are actually backtracking a bit. There were howls of pain from industry saying you're lumping everything together. This read across is too much. And I've just put that link below this video as well. So there is progress and people can move in the EU, which is good to know. So those are our two things that are newsy today. Not a lot happening in GB as far as I'm aware, which is a relief because there's too much happening in the EU almost. So you'll be thinking, come on, woman, get to the funny video. And it's Don McMillan who has cracked the code on those cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies. So enjoy. So that's it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching, whether that's live or on catch up. And I hope to be able to chat to you again next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye.